image there. There's another one that has the backpacky looking thing, which I found multiple times, so this I know where it is. And again, black legs. There we go. Now I'll probably be able to find that shoulder pad I was looking for that I couldn't find before. Or not. Oh, there it is. Little shoulder pad. Another head. Not sure why there was heads in one bag and heads in another bag. Somehow that saves money, I guess. And he's got claws as well. I really remember the Wolverine-like claws these guys had, but whatever. So yeah, I would find this stress relieving. This video is probably never going to find the light of day because of the way I'm acting right now. There we go. We got our 3 Outriders and we got our Captain America now. So let's move to picture page, time to get your picture pages. Time to grab your pad and your pencil. Wish this page would stay back a little better. Let's see here. You know, like I probably said this a million times too, to even some of you as well, and that's you know, prior to cancer, you've heard many people say that it really kind of tears you apart and takes over your life, and there really is no version that doesn't involve cancer anymore in your life. And I guess that's extremely true. I don't guess either. I know I never thought about it because obviously you are not suffering from cancer until you finally are. But then when I finally was, it was like, you know, no truer words have been spoken. Suddenly, like, it kind of defines you, who you are, and it kind of sucks because you want to be known as the person you always were and always have been and so forth. And why do they give you pieces like this? They give you a 3 blue, like 2 wide, 3 long, and then they make you put a 2 piece next to it. And why then just give you, oh well, it's a lower piece, I guess, isn't it? Okay, then I can shut my mouth because that was, ignore that, edit. Okay, so, yeah. So I think what happens is you get kind of aggravated with the fact that, like, you are not the same person. People, like, look at you and think of, oh, not necessarily pity either. It's just people will recognize, like, the ordeal you're going through more than they will you for a while. And that can be a little problematic. You know, like the last thing you want really is to be treated differently But the thing is, like, the truth is, you kind of have to be, because certain things are unexpectedly going to cause you issue. Like I had a good example, and I don't even know if I do anymore, but a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, named Rob. He actually was the one that brought me to tell him Steve Dad's such an unusual looking piece. He's a very good friend, and his kind of sense of humor has always been very kind of jab. You know, taking these moments, the little jabs, but they've never meant anything. But when suddenly you're kind of sick and you're faced with your mortality, those kind of jokes that used to just kind of roll off your back before don't roll off quite so well anymore. And the thing is, like, you've always spent all this time trying to tell people, like, don't treat me any differently. I'm the same person I've always been. You know, I'm the same happy-go-lucky guy. And really, ultimately, it's just all bullshit. You can't be. And then they make a joke that, you know, just doesn't sit well with you. And it's not their fault, because you've been training them to be a certain way and handle you with a certain way and think about you in a certain way. And then suddenly they find the one thing, the one moment, or the one whatever, and that seems to resonate and just makes you mad. And he did one once, he just made a little joke, but it was like because of, like, you know, he doesn't know the severity of the situation. I was like walking across and out of this corner, and there's an area where people don't stop very well, and this person didn't stop very well, and I didn't see them, so they were coming down the hill a little too fast on top of everything else that they were doing wrong. And suddenly you're just like, what the hell? I even slapped the top of their car, and you know, like, they don't even want to look at you because, like, they realize they made a mistake. It was a stupid choice. It was whatever. And then, you know, he made a joke about it. And at the time, I should have just been like, you know, whatever. And I normally would have been whatever. But because you're in this more fragile state, and, like, suddenly you're thinking to yourself, like, I could have, like, gone through everything I've gone through and then get killed by a stupid driver who isn't paying attention or isn't doing their job properly. And it just didn't float. The joke didn't sit with me, and I got aggravated, and I said some, you know, shit I shouldn't have said too. And it's just like, it's just difficult sometimes, because, like I said, you tell them, like, hey, I'm no different than the person you remember me always being. And that would have been the same person that would have taken that as it was intended, as just a joke. Admittedly, it wasn't a great joke, but it was still just that, a joke. It was never intended for more. And you feel bad because, like, you just don't, you don't want to be any different than you ever were, but you just don't have that choice anymore.
It's hard. I feel like a lot of choices are being made for you that you don't necessarily want to make. Choices that under any other circumstances would have been, you know, very different, I guess. Sorry, I'm having hard time finding this little thing. Reminds me of the one nurse I had when I was at Yale. It was just
like, I have social anxiety pretty bad. And you know, it always has its tendency to be kind of a poorly timed. Oh, I see. It's two pieces. Okay, sorry about that. And it's like, you know, like, there's a point where, like, they won't let you poop or pee alone. And I'm just having this argument with this nurse saying, like, look, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to take a dump with the door open and you standing there. Well, I'll turn my back to you. I'm like, it's just, like, that is, you know, it's probably like the one thing you're sitting there going like, you know, if I went to the, you know, in my nightmare, it's like I'm showing up at school and I'm naked and I'm having to give a, you know, a speech at school or, you know, whatever. It's just like one of those situations you're not really prepared to ever face, especially when you're someone like myself. And it just became like this big argument between her and I was just like, I don't think you understand. I am not going to take a dump with you staying there. And it, you know, got to the point where I was like, I don't want you as my nurse. I don't care if I get another nurse and she says the same thing, then I will keep asking for a nurse until I am allowed to do my business in some form of privacy because I can't handle it. And it's like certain things like that you just don't ever think you're going to be having to worry about, but so what I found myself doing was finding little things to help me when I got back from the hospital to try to keep me out of my own head, which was never that easy to do, but still worth a try. I made a shadow box that came out way better than I could have ever imagined. I was so happy with that. It was insane. Why? Okay. I don't understand again. Like, this piece is linked to this piece now, but now I'm going to stick them both to this thing, so why not just use a black? Somehow that's going to reinforce it, I guess. I have no idea. And this is one of the other things. Like, I did the shadow box, like I said, I did, well, I've been playing a lot of games. I've been trying to stream. Well, that's difficult. It's hard to get, you know, people turned on to your stream for one, and then you know, people that very likely are not you know, fans of games in the first place. So like I said, for everybody, they all find their own little different things that kind of, you know, provide them with peace of mind, I guess. Like that. No. Like that. Okay. I'm sure you're riveted. Try to give myself something to say at all times, but it's not that easy. One, concentration levels, as I mentioned, are not the greatest. And then two, I don't always have anything to say. Surprise, surprise. But the plan is to actually fly past the stuff I'm not talking when I'm not talking, so that you're not sitting there going like, "What the heck? This is the most boring thing I've ever seen." So there'll be like these moments where I'll go really fast because I'm not saying anything or doing anything interesting, or maybe I'll just skip over the things I'm saying, even right now. Let's see here. So we got this going on. What would really be easy is if, like, this thing actually took off or took anything would be that people have questions for me and I can answer them while I'm doing this stuff. About life after cancer or chemotherapy or whatever. Everyone's got their different stories though. And I've found nothing but like support from all the aunts. It's been, that's what they refer to the fans of Tell 'em Steve Davis aunts. Long story. That maybe I'll tell at some point because I don't have that much left of this. Been a lot of people that have cancer, which is unfortunate, sad. It just seems like nobody goes the way of the dodo anymore by old age. It just seems like cancer takes hold and screws everything up. Everything. Let's see. So it's been a long ride. It's been since June 16th of 2017. So it's been over 2 years. And it's taken its toll on, me and friends that are all trying to, be supportive and helpful and all sorts of stuff. It's not easy. I'm sure having a friend that you thought was going to be there forever and never gave a lot of thought to, that's suddenly not going to be there. Miley Cyrus says she refuses to be slut-shamed. Good for her. That constitutes news, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it goes on the two thing. I gotcha. Two thing. Yes. It slides on there. Oh, it's coming together. It's taking shape. I can't believe there's people out there that are literally spending their time building these things for the company. I think that'd be kind of a pretty badass lifestyle to have. Imagine, excuse me, I'm sorry. You're the guy who's like, go to a cocktail party and you're like, hey, and Joffrey, what do you do for a living? I am the guy who basically sits down with every piece that Lego has or possesses in their library, and I construct ways to build different things. Oh, really? That's an interesting field you're in. I agree. Are you talking down to me, you asshole? Because I will kill you. They ask you, like, what was the last thing you did? And you're like, oh, I did, you ever seen the Captain America bike that was from Endgame? Well, I don't remember seeing that in the movie. I can say that much for sure. Yeah, it really wasn't in the movie, but that's not the point right now, Roger. I'm just having a conversation with you about what I've done. Do you want to know what I've done, or were you just making chat? And he's like, I was just making chit-chat. And you're like, fine, whatever. I'm done with you, Roger. I've had enough of your garbage. And he's like, well, I don't really much care for you, sir. And I'm like, well, to each his own. Jerk face. And then you get no scrap with him. He like throws like a fist, and you're like, it's whatever. You're like totally ready for it. So you like punch him in the mouth afterwards, and he's like, oh, that's terrible. Oh, I got it. I understand now. Which one of these does it go on? Big a big Soundgarden fan. I was so upset that Chris decided to take his own life. I wish people could have done something to help him or make him understand or whatever. I don't know the effect he's had on many, many alive, but unfortunately he was in pain that I cannot say I understand. I always thought it was funny when I would go see these people. They want you to go see people periodically during your time of chemotherapy and so forth, and they're always saying things like, you haven't had any wants to hurt yourself or something like that. And like guys, I'm quite literally putting myself through hell. Oh, going to see therapists. That's what it was. Really, this thing's seemingly a little bit more overly complicated than it needs to be. And they would ask me if I was having thoughts about hurting myself or hurting others or something like that. It's just like always seemed so ridiculous to me, because it's like look, I wouldn't be going through all this other stuff if I wanted to just end it. You know what I mean? It's like, why would I go through the rigmarole of putting myself into chemotherapy and this and that and the other thing? It's like, if I wanted to die, I could very easily just not show up to the hospital, and there you go. That's me, dying. But they still, they gotta have their questions or whatever, I guess, and convince themselves that you are not, in fact, going to hurt yourself. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of puzzling, to say the least. I think I'm missing a P. Oh, I'm not. In all the sets I build, and I've built a few of them, I have not yet run into any missing pieces other than one set. Just one set had a different colored block instead of the one that was supposed to have. It was like just a little 2-piece, 1x2, and instead of it being gray like it was supposed to be, it was like this weird kind of yellowish, orangish thing. So I guess it could have been significantly worse, but it wasn't. The whole idea behind this channel was to bring me and my friends together. I don't think they sometimes realize, obviously, everyone's got their lives that are going on. Well, be lucky if I can find that one again. And you just kind of want to be a part of something. Like I said, it's all part of the distraction. Distracting yourself from life. And it's difficult sometimes when it's just you in not even a very big apartment. That's not what I was going to say, though. But just, I don't know what I'm saying. You just kind of hope that maybe you can spur them into doing something that they maybe wouldn't do normally, because like it sounds fun or it sounds like something they did enjoy doing or what have you. But unfortunately, the channel has kind of just been more me, which is, it's fine. Soloing things, but that's ultimately not why I wanted to do this. It's just an opportunity to get my friends to be involved in something different, that maybe we could make something, legitimately. And Sean had some ideas, and Chris had some ideas, and it was all like, pretty cool. Problem is just ultimately, life is too busy for other people. Sorry about the bag. So you get kind of frustrated, and you start letting it kind of boil up on you, and when it was, supposed to be just, something for fun. And suddenly you're getting upset because they're not doing it. Well, can't expect everybody to change their lifestyle and change what they're doing because, that's what you want them to do. You know what I mean? Got lucky, I guess. But ultimately, that was my goal, was to give the three of us something to do together, bring us together as well. Just hasn't really panned out that way yet, but maybe it still can. Nothing saying it can't. You know what I mean? It's like turning a little too cathartic. We're almost done. It's exciting. And there you have it. Captain America and the world's largest motorcycle, comparatively to the person who's going to ride it. So that brings me to the end of the episode. All done. All whatever. Oops. Oh. Book's coming apart already. So let's do that real quick. Yeah, okay, that's enough. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it gave me about an hour of time where I just kind of forget. Thank you for joining me for this, the inaugural episode of Lego something. I was going to be piecing it together, which kind of is a little apropos of what I'm doing with my life. But I don't know, maybe we'll do that piece together. Hopefully someone will watch this and say, hey, that's kind of cool. I like your video. I made sure to make it try to keep it relatively short, because I'll put in edit or speed ups and stuff like that. So I won't definitely take a full 52 minutes or 53 minutes when I'm done talking. Well, check this out. Heart monitor. Been having some heart problems too. See, now I reminded myself, and now I got to put this thing back together again. I'll tear it down and build it again. So again, thank you for joining me for this, and hopefully more in the future. There will be more, for sure. Whether anybody watches them or not is another story, but I will definitely do that. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Take care.